Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head down to England and we're going to have a look at a brewery who I have never tried anything from before, but the guys in the English beer tubing scene have told me that this is one that I really should check out actually. So for this review then we are going to go down to Yorkshire and we're having a look at my first beer from Vocation Brewery. This one is called the Love and Hate and it's a New England IPA clocking in at 7.2% ABV. So this particular beer is available in Tesco stores throughout the whole of the UK from what I understand, and I know that a couple of the English guys have reviewed it. I know that Dean has, I think Craig might have as well, and I think Peter at the Clueless Drinker, I think they've reviewed it, so make sure you check out their reviews, check out their channels of course. I'll try and remember to put the links to some of them in the video description below. But very curious to try my first beer from this brewery. These guys are a very highly regarded brewery in England, and yeah, there's some pretty damn good craft beer down there these days, as I'm sure you guys watching the channel already know. But curious to see how it turns out, and hopefully you guys enjoy my take on this one as well. So yeah, as always with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that hopefully I can do in the future from Vocation Brewery. Very first time I'm trying one of their beers, as I mentioned. There's all the usual social media down there too. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, province, whatever takes your fancy. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the English beers that I've reviewed for you. That's being added to whenever I get the opportunity, and as always please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. And do make sure you give your patronage to some of my English beer tubing colleagues as well. Craig over at Kent Beer Reviews, Dean at Dean's Beer Reviews, Harry at Blue Nose Beer Reviews, Rob over at Hop Scene, Brett at Beardy Beer Reviews, and who am I missing? Yeah, I've said Rob, Hop Scene, J Cole over at J Cole Beer as well. There's lots of other guys kind of starting up now, like Beer Dad and Wanda Beer Wonder and things like that. You know, check them all out. There's some really nice beer tubers out there these days, basically. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about Vocation Brewery then. On to my brewery notes. So Vocation Brewery, as I mentioned, are based in Yorkshire, in Hebdon Bridge in the southwestern corner of the county, and it's about halfway between Manchester to the southwest and Leeds to the northeast. But the brewery itself was founded back in April of 2015 by John Hickling. So he had worked in IT within the banking sector for a number of years, and he homebrewed as a hobby just to kind of escape, you know, the monotonous life of work. But he grew tired of his work, and he decided that he wanted to turn professional and run his own brewery. So he went to train at Brew Lab in Sunderland, who are quite a well-regarded brewing school these days, and he worked for a period after that at Jarrow Brewery. So when they moved premises, he bought some of their equipment, and then he went on to found Blue Monkey Brewery in Ilkeston with his uncle back in 2008. I think that's in Nottingham. But they successfully grew the brewery over the following years. But in 2014, I think it was, they sold Blue Monkey and he founded Vocation Brewery because he just felt that he really needed a new project. And I think he's originally from Yorkshire as well, and decided that he wanted to go back home. So the new brewery opened in Hebdon Bridge in Yorkshire in 2015. They started off with a 15-barrel brew kit. I'm not sure if they've upgraded that, but they have expanded their fermentation capacity over the last few years. They opened their first tap room in 2018 in Hebdon Bridge, quite close to the brewery, and they've opened up another one in Leeds from what I gather the following year in 2019. And as of February 2020, when I'm filming this review for you, they've produced around 80 different beers according to Untappd, and they've won a number of different awards for the things that they've done as well actually. So as I said, a very kind of highly regarded brewery these days. I know that Yorkshire has a very kind of bustling craft beer scene, if you like. I guess Rob at Hopscene would be one to tell you that, and also Stuggy Pickard over at Ginger Ale Tail. Forgot to mention him earlier. He would also be one to talk about the Yorkshire beers actually. So yeah, as I say, make sure you check out their channels. But this is my first encounter with them, and hopefully it's another good English beer. So yeah, that's all I can really tell you at the moment about Vocation Brewery. If you want to learn more about them, of course, you can check out the brewery website. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to see all the latest goings on. And if you're interested in all the different beers that they've done, you can check out the Rate Beer, Untappd and Beer Advocate pages to see some more details on those. So yeah, let's get on and actually have a taste of this this beer then, not this brewery. So yeah, a lot of the artwork you'll see from the Vocation beers is kind of like this. Some of their beers are released in the tall boy 440ml cans like this. Quite a few of them though are available in the little 330s. I believe they've got one that's called Life and Death, which I think might be the, I forget if that's the purple one or the green one, but usually it's just the colour of the writing that changes with these. But a lot of IPAs, a few darker beers in there as well, so I'll need to make sure that I review a few more of those for you. I've got the brewery notes now, so it's quite easy to film reviews for Vocation then. So yeah, it tells you on the side here, Vocation Brewery, we brew bold beers that serve punchy pints because that's the way we like them. From our hilltop in Yorkshire, we'd rather set benchmarks than trends, only making beer that we're proud to put our name on. It's what drives us, it's what made us, it's our vocation. So yeah, it says here as well, traditionalists love beer that is crystal clear with restrained hops and delicate flavour. They're going to hate this. Love and Hate is our juicily crushable, unapologetically murky New England IPA, an authentic Vermont yeast strain and a big dose of oats work together with our triple dry hopping process to create beautiful aromas and a silky mouthfeel. So yeah, see how we get on with this then. I'm really curious about it. There's another quick look at the artwork for you there. The symbol of this brewery is almost a little bit like Illuminati or something like that. But yeah, I have to say, I quite like the artwork. As I mentioned earlier, this beer is available quite readily throughout the whole of Scotland and the UK in Tesco stores. So yeah, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting then. A 7.2% New England IPA. So there we go. I think this can was like £3 or something as well, so you know it's pretty damn good value, I have to say. There's still a little bit left in the can, wee bit more murk in it for you, but we'll get the rest of that in just a little minute. So yeah, as you can see with this beer then, it's poured a lovely kind of almost mango peach juice kind of colour actually. It looks very, very nice. If I put my fingers behind the glass there, you can see there's very little in the way of transparency to this one. You know, it is pretty much completely opaque. There's a solid 2/3 finger of a frothy, I would say, perfect white head on this. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, a few little ones heading up towards the bottom of that head there, but you know, overall it looks pretty nice and you know exactly what you would expect from one of these New England hazy IPAs. So let's have a look at the aroma then and just see how we get on with this. Oh yeah, that's pretty damn nice, I have to say. Something in my head straight away is telling me there's Simcoe in this because it's got that lovely juicy kind of passion fruit note to it, but I've always found that Simcoe is very smooth and almost kind of milky, if you like, in its passion fruity qualities. So there's just something in my head that's telling me that that's Simcoe in here. There's lots of other hops it could be, of course, but if it is a bit of passion fruit and mango I'm getting out of this, so I would suspect there's probably 2 hops or maybe a bit more than that in this. It's probably, this to me, there's something that says there's Simcoe in here definitely, so it might well be a sort of Simcoe and Citra kind of combination, you know, that classic high alpha acid hop. The big 3 original high alpha acid hops for me were Amarillo, Citra and Simcoe, and of course there's a hell of a lot more have come out since then. So yeah, big juicy smooth aromas there. In the malt base of this one you get a lovely kind of big thick oaty kind of note there. It really, if we're comparing this to the biggies over in America, it's a little bit more like Treehouse. This one, it comes across as one of these really smooth kind of creamy New England IPAs, so a little bit more like Treehouse than the more bitey things you would expect of Trillium and you know the farmhousiness of Alchemist. I've not tried Hill Farmstead of course, but yeah, lovely big smooth note. You can pick out a little bit of the smooth kind of white bready notes underneath. Not really any biscuity notes out of this one. This one almost leans to having that slightly, almost, not quite vanilla, but almost kind of lactosey, milkshakey type qualities. A very, very creamy malt base, like I said. So oats, almost a little bit of lactose, but and a little bit of the sweetness you get from that. But this obviously is not a milkshake IPA. But yeah, that's the malt base in this is lovely and smooth, very, very straight up. On the hoppy side of things, When it comes to the green side of the hops, to me, it's really leaning towards the grassy side of things. You get a little bit of a kind of floral quality to it, but not all that much. Remember, Simcoe is quite high in its alpha acid qualities, like 12, I think sometimes 13% you'll get out of Simcoe, of course. I'm guessing that Simcoe's in there. I always like to play guess the hops with these beers, but yeah, mainly grassy in terms of the green side of its hops. Yeah, fruity side of things, like I said, to me there's a bit of passion fruit to this, but it's very smooth, like papayas, mangoes. I don't know really about pineapple with this one. Almost a little bit apricotty. It reminds me of these little Munch Bunch yogurts that my mum used to put in my lunchbox when I was wee. It's really got that kind of vibe to it, but a little bit of a stronger passion fruit to it in the background. Mangoes, apricots, a little bit papaya, kind of something like that, but a very smooth, creamy smelling IPA, this one, or New England IPA I should say. So take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of this one. I suspect it's Simcoe and maybe a bit of Citra that's in here. If it's passion fruit, you know, it could be Galaxy. I think is Idaho 7, I think, can give you some big kind of passion fruity notes as well, and Victoria's Secret too, but there's something in this that just tells me it's Simcoe. I'd love to know if I was right about that. But yeah, take a bit of time and enjoy the aroma, but let's have a taste of this now and see how we get on. This one is the Love and Hate, a hazy New England IPA, whatever you want to call it, at 7.2% from Vocation Brewery in Yorkshire down in England. Let's get stuck into this one. Slàinte, skål. Yeah, that's a really damn solid effort, I have to say. Thumbs up to Vocation Brewery for this one. It has got a little bit more bite to it than the aroma would have you believe. You do get a little bit of bite out of this beer when you take it in, which is obviously always welcome. We'll get the last little bit of it into the glass and just see if that smooths it out any. Doubt it will though, because it is pretty smooth generally. So yeah, with this one then, it's a really nice balanced take on the style. I mean, it's quite good these days that you can get stuff like this in big supermarkets like Tesco. I think that kind of shows you how much the craft beer scene has gone. I mean, the other one this in some ways reminds me of the is it the Heathen or Heaven? I forget, from Northern Monk. That's you know, their kind of flagship hazy IPA these days. This one really reminds me of that actually, and it's on the same level. I was really impressed with that beer when I tried it, and this one you know, really kind of matches up to that. So that's a good benchmark, you know. Thumbs up to Vocation for this. But yeah, let's try and break down the flavour of this one a little bit then. So middle of your palate, you can feel it's blanketed with that sort of pale malty kind of quality. You can feel that just going straight across the middle of your tongue. In fairness, it does thicken up a little bit, and I think there is a wee element of kind of wheatiness to this one, and when you go into the very centre of your palate, you start to get some of the more oaty, creamy notes. They come out a little bit more towards the front of the palate as well. The sort of almost milkshakey kind of notes that I was picking out of this one, they don't come out all that much for me. I wouldn't be surprised if this one has a little bit of like dextrose or something like that in it, you know, one of these kind of sugars. I don't know if it would say on the side here. It just says, yeah, water, malted barley, wheat, oats, hops and yeast. So yeah, I guess it doesn't have some of these kind of dextrosy, dextrin sugars in it. Cloudwater, like to use those, and it does, you know, it does feel like a kind of pure malt base, although I'm not sure if you can technically call oats pure malt. But you know, it's a lovely straight up, straight shooter New England IPA, this one. A solid beer, and you can't fault it for that. So yeah, as you drink more of this, in the middle of your palate you might get a little bit of an impression of kind of a little bit of a biscuity sweetness there, but you can feel it drying out in the middle of the palate as well to some degree, and that's really what gives away that this beer is a sort of pure malt beer. You do get just a little touch of graininess to it the further you go into the aftertaste. But on the hoppy side of things then, back corners of the palate, for me there's a teeny little bit of earthiness there. As you come further forward along the sides of the tongue, You get some nice kind of floral aromatic notes that comes out on the front corners of the palate, and then round the very front curve of the palate you get a little bit of that lighter kind of grassiness out of the beer. And behind the front curve of the palate, of course, that's where that nice oily bubble comes, where you get the fruity esters coming out of the hops, and you can tell that this one is dry hopped because it does come across as with that kind of slightly dusty mouthfeel to a degree as well, so that's pretty nice. So yeah, for me, this one, on the fruity side of things, if you go towards the back of that oily bubble, there's a little bit of that darker kind of passion fruity note in there. And there's something just in the flavour that makes me question what I said earlier about it being Simcoe. It could well be a little bit of Galaxy that's in here, but I think it was Rob at Hopscene was telling me that Galaxy isn't that popular a hop amongst English brewers. It's quite popular over in Sweden, of course. So it could well be Simcoe that's in this, or maybe even Idaho 7, who knows. But yeah, definitely a bit of that darker kind of passion fruity note in there. It's almost dark enough to be grapefruit, so that could come from Citra, if there's Citra in this right enough. But as you move further forward, it definitely becomes a little bit more mango-y. There's a little bit of a kind of almost papaya-ish type quality to this one. I don't really get pineapple out of it. I thought there was pineapple in the aroma, but it does have a little bit of that kind of almost apricot-y flavour to it as well. But the strength of the darker, more sour tropical fruits in this one is quite prominent, I would say. A lot more than you would think from the aroma. But I mean, overall it's fair to say this is a very kind of straight shooting New England IPA. It's very well done. To have that in the supermarket, you know, you can't fault them at all. That's a very, very good beer to have in your supermarket. Yeah, so yeah, try this one if you get the chance. It's definitely worth it, and at £3 a can, can't knock it there either. But yeah, it definitely has a little bit more bite to it in the flavour than what you might expect from the aroma. I was expecting something along the lines of a very, very creamy IPA, but it does have a nice little bit of bite to it as well. In terms of the mouthfeel then, I would say that this beer, overall, I think it's fairly mid-bodied. It's not the thickest or creamiest of New England IPAs that you're going to come across, hazy IPAs, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of in the middle of the road actually, and that makes it a little bit more sessionable, and obviously with it being in the supermarket, that's probably what you would expect. Carbonation is fairly smooth in this one. You'd expect that from the style, of course, and overall I'd say the mouthfeel is fairly smooth. It's not so creamy, but definitely quite smooth. In terms of hoppy bitterness, there's something that makes me want to say this is about 40 IBUs. I think this might be a little bit heavier than the normal 30. There's a good little bit of that floral note on the side of the palate comes out, and some of the earthiness there as well. You do feel a little bit of bitterness with this one the further you go into the aftertaste. In terms of the malt side of things, it's quite smooth. It's got a little bit dry the further you go into the aftertaste, but it doesn't have some of the biscuity sweetness that you can sometimes get in this style. The fruits, a little bit juicy, but it is a little bit darker, the fruity character in this one in my mind. But overall, this is a really solid New England IPA. I've said that quite a few times in this video, but you know, I can't really emphasise it enough. At £3 a can, this is a really pretty damn awesome beer to have available to you. So yeah, thumbs up to Vocation Brewery. I would guess it's maybe fair to say this is perhaps not one of their more adventurous beers that they've done. Probably Rob and Stuart would be more qualified to tell you about that than me, but if this is one of the ones that they're putting out, I can see why this brewery is really highly thought of actually. So hopefully I can try some more of their beer. I'll need to look into them a bit more, but yeah, definitely worth checking out this one. So have a go at it for yourself and just see what you think. Definitely cool to get around to reviewing some of these special beers that were released in the supermarkets here in Scotland as well. So yeah, big thumbs up to Vocation Brewery. I'm sure we'll return to these guys at some point in the future. So yeah, once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Vocation Brewery as well. You can check out more reviews from these guys hopefully over the coming while. Let me know what your favourite beers are, like I said, but thank you again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. This one was the Love and Hate, a New England hazy style IPA coming in at 7.2% from Vocation Brewery in Hebdon Bridge in the southwest corner of Yorkshire down in England. Until the next time, slàinte just now, and I'll catch you guys later. Slàinte, skål, cheers.